Levack and Goz, we are live on Radio Row. We're joined by a guy that I've actually been watching you on the television for quite some time. Mixed martial artist, former NFL player, Matt Mitrione joining us right now.
What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm great, man. I got some pork rinds here. I mean, what's going on, baby?
That's the magic of Radio Row.
That's it, baby. Oh, you walk around and get handed pork rinds. Sooner or later, you guys can make it too, baby.
I know. One day I hope to get them as well.
Southern recipe.
Southern
recipe. I sure got that in. That's good.
Yeah.
You got to drop some more off for the rest of the show if we're going to plug you.
We're not skinnies over here.
All right, so I mean, I've watched you from when you made the transition. Now, you were undrafted. You went to the Giants, where you're home for New York sports. So when you went on the competition show, which is now on your competitors, you're a Bellator guy now. You came off like kind of a nut job, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but you were a badass.
Well, you know, it was an interesting situation. So it's a story.
Right.
I'll wind it down. I got a phone call the night before we reported to go to the Ultimate Fighter from a manager who I didn't know was a dirtbag named Ken Pavia.
Okay.
I knew nothing about the game whatsoever. He's like, hey, look, we have a guy who wants to set up an alliance. I think you should give him a call, do it up. I represent him. He's going to be on the show named Scott Junk. Okay, cool. I call him up. Junk gives me a situation. We get each other through the first round. If we get to the second round, regardless if you win or lose, you're going to be on the finale. That's the way it used to be. Okay, we'll share information, get each other through the first round. All bets are off going in the second round. Okay, cool. Going on the show, 2 weeks. The show films for 6 weeks. 2 weeks into the show, we find out who we're going to fight, right? I'm going to fight Marcus Jones. He's going to fight his roommate, his friend. So I go in there, so slick. I have a bowl, right? I'm drinking my milk cereal or whatever. And I say it so the microphone can't pick it up. So I make it so it reverberates back and forth. Hey, look, you're going to fight your dude. My shoulder's bad. I'm fighting Marcus. Can't go, whatever else. I hold up my end of his proposed bargain.
Right.
Dude goes downstairs and throws me under the bus. Mitrione just snitched, blah, 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 blah. And there's a $5 million conferring with other contestants policy in the contract. So
really?
When the morning time, when I woke up and I went to go get a bagel and I was going to put some almond butter on it, right? And the dude was like, hey, do you need a knife to put that butter on? I said, yeah. He's like, why don't you take it out of this dude's back because you're bogus.
Right.
So then from that point on, I'm the snitch, and I know I'm going to be disliked. And I can't be like, well, I did it because this situation here, because I'll be liable for $5 million.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I can't say anything about it. So I don't say anything about it, and I got to be like, yeah, you're right.
So you go bad guy.
Right. So then I go bad guy, right? And I'm smart enough, and I observe enough that I saw the variables. I've been on a locked TV show for 2 weeks by that time. So I know the things the idiosyncrasies that each one of you guys have, and I can start to manipulate that now. So since I know that my job now is to whoop that dude's ass, Scott Junk's ass, that's my whole goal.
Right.
Well, now I can manipulate every variable I want to because I don't care about the show. Right. I'm about to get that right there.
I appreciate you centering yourself. I can see it wasn't that easy with that part of it. Right? Matt Mitrione with us right now, former NFL player, mixed martial artist now. This guy's mesmerized by what I don't know how this is going to go. So go ahead.
I just had our guys back in studio. First of all, thank you for keeping the dump button away from their fingers. So appreciate that very much. So. They're, looking up some info and getting your stuff ready for later on. They say, please ask them about the eye. Please talk to them about what went
it's
on.
the first picture that comes up when you're
for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, I got out of the hospital about 4 hours later, right? I told them, I was like, you need to lance this or I'm going to lance it. Like, I'm not going to have this on my face. Like it needs to drain out. I'm not going to do this. And they wouldn't do it. So I was really upset about it. They're like, look, we have an ophthalmologist that'll see it and drain it tomorrow morning. Please don't do it tonight. Okay, cool. So I leave the hospital.
Oh, no.
I get on my phone, right? The very first thing I see is a meme in all Arabic. Nothing English, all Arabic of my eye. And I was like, damn. I didn't care about being world famous, but I'm world famous for the wrong reason now, right? Like look, man, I made it.
Well, so you got a big fight coming up, Bellator. You're going to be taking on Fedor. I mean, this guy, he's a legend.
Dude, Fedor Emelianenko is the GOAT. He's the greatest heavyweight of all time, arguably the GOAT fighter of all time. He beat any name you've ever heard in the sport of MMA, whether you're a casual fan or you're a major fan. He beat every name back in Japanese MMA and Pride, and he beat him a myriad of ways. It's not like he just won them like I do. I win my fights by knockout. That's what I do. Right. Fedor wins by knockout, by TKO, by ground and pound, by submission. And submissions are either joint locks or chokes. He wins any which way he goes. He's the best of all time because he beat the best of all time in their primes by a myriad of different ways. He's a legend.
Now how do you beat him? I mean, you're bigger, you're stronger.
Quicker, more athletic.
Right. I didn't mean to sell you short.
Longer. No, bigger, stronger, but that's a heavyweight's plot, okay? I'm quicker and athletic. That's how I'm different than everybody else, right? I make it different because I move a lot. That's why my striking defense is one of the highest in UFC histories, because I move a lot. I zig, I zag, and I'm long-limbed. So since I have good feet and I'm able to move around, that I don't play rock'em sock'em robot unless I make a mistake and I let my nuts get too big and I stand in front of somebody and trade off.
Right.
Because then I just become another dude.
Right.
Otherwise, when I'm me, I'm very difficult to fight. So that's how I fight him. I'm the wild card. I'm the variable. I'm the athletic one that's different than who he's fought, which is wild to say considering the fact he's fought the best.
Right. He's got, twice as many fights as you.
For sure. And he's got 7 times as many victories as I do. Right? But my athletic pedigree is different than what he has and different than what he's ever seen. But in that same breath, what he does special is that the dude throws nothing straight, throws no jabs, no straights. All he throws is looping hooks, major overhands, and uppercuts. But what makes him different is he throws 7 to 9 punch combinations on a regular basis, which heavyweights don't do. Heavyweights throw 1 or 2 punches. This dude throws a series, punches and bunches, different angles coming from everywhere. And on top of that, he doesn't stay away and play a length game because he has short arms. And he's a sambo guy, which is it's like Greco wrestling mixed with submissions. Okay, so what he wants to do is he'll throw a lead hook. He fights right-handed, so his lead hook's his left hand. Since he doesn't throw jabs, he throws a lead hook and he jumps into it. So he smothers you, right? He closes distance very quickly. And then as soon as he lands that hook, whether he lands it or he doesn't, then he loops under and goes for a body lock so he has double unders. So he wants to get close, so he closes distance. It's hard to find that. It's hard to find a long body that wants to get nipple to nipple with you and go work.
Right.
And especially because he wants that because he gets that double under. Then he goes for his Greco, throws a dump you on your head and catch you in some kind of submission.
I've talked to, and you have as well, we can't even count how many MMA fighters, and we've asked them similar questions. You've given us the best answer by far. Like, your studying for this fight has been more complex and more broken down than anyone we've ever talked to. So
I appreciate
good for you. Good for you for doing that.
That's my football pedigree. I understand athleticism. I understand proprioception and what bodies want to do. And so when I see it, I can get a judgment. But the one thing I don't do anymore is I don't watch film anymore. Because I found myself, I took my football habits to MMA, right? And so I watched film a lot. And I found myself in the middle of fights when I should have been reacting and zigging and zagging and playing and making people play my game. I found myself watching them, my opponent, waiting for them to do what I saw them do in the film so I can react to it. So then I become, in theory, paralysis by analysis, right? Like I'm thinking when I need to be reacting and getting down. And that's why at D-line, like, stop thinking, dude. Stop. Just go play.
Just go hit the quarterback.
Fighting. Just go get down, brother.
We've talked to heavyweight fighters before about cutting weight and finding their perfect weight, and we've had some fighters tell us they enjoy fried chicken and beer before fights.
We had Derek Lewis, the Black Beast.
Right on.
Yeah, and he said, are you what I
knocked him out in 41 seconds.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Oh no, just kidding. But he said flat out, like, I eat what I want. My win's good, and he goes, I'll rock some laxatives to make weight.
You knocked him out in 41 seconds. I'm sure your weight training and all that's a little bit different than his.
It might be, but I don't strength train anymore, man. The muscle, the muscle needed for football is literally the polar opposite of what's needed for MMA. Short explosive bursts for football, long tempered explosive bursts in MMA. And so your aerobic threshold has to be much higher. So I don't lift weights anymore. I did for a little bit. I had 2 fights in a row, had about 4 months off. I started deadlifting, doing pull-ups, and drinking beer, and I got to 285 pounds like that, dude. So, I finally dropped about 30 pounds. I'm back down to 255-ish. But for a while, I was massive, but I'm still crazy, like, refrigerator strong, pick up a refrigerator, carry the blocks you need it.
Right.
So I'm that kind of strong now. But you're right. Like, for me as a heavyweight, I don't need to watch what I eat. I don't need to do whatever. And like Mike Tyson said, a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. So I'm not going to restrain myself, but for selfish and vain reasons, I want my body to look somewhat decent when I take my shirt off, Because anybody that's ever seen me has seen my nipples, right? If you ever watch me fight, you've seen my nipples. So I want to be able to contain that just a wee bit. So this beautiful bag of Southern recipe pork rinds, they have to stay here for the next guest.
They better drop a couple bucks in your pocket, man. I'm telling you. Matt Mitrione, man, we're going to be watching Bellator. You're taking on February 18th.
February 18th.
He's a legend. You're like I said, I'm glad that I finally got to talk to you because I almost felt like they edited you poorly too when you're on that show. Like they made it a lot easier to look at you like a villain.
Sure. Well, I gave them a lot of footage, right? That's my fault. And I wasn't hip to the editing game. But you know what? Now that you're hip to it, if you watch reality shows, you can literally, especially with the Ultimate Fighter, I don't watch TV, so I'm not sure how a lot of things go with setups. But if you look at their facial hair, if you look at what they're wearing or their haircut, you can see. And so you'll notice that those splice interviews from the 7th week from the first week. And like, if you can remember what he looked like in the first week, you'll see that get brought back in this. Like, for example, like, hey, what's your first impression of John over there? Well, I think John's a jerk, and this is the reason why he's a jerk, and blah, blah, blah. But it ends up that John's mad cool, and by week 7, you guys get along really well. But they're going to splice that from week 1, and they're going to run it back to create drama on it. Right? And that's what it's going to be. And they're going to show John the cut. Like, well, why did you say I was a jerk, man? What are you bumping your gums for? Now there's drama in the house. Now there's anxiety in the house,
reason to watch.
Right. And that's what builds. That's what happens.
All right, man. Best of luck. February 18th, taking on the legend fighter, Matt Mitrione, man. We love you. You got our support.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Hey, man, it's going to be a great time, great experience. I'm going to punch the stoic Russian in his face and do my best.
Jim Layrich joins us next.